I'm kind of a bit stressed.
Officially certified emotional support dog.
He's been waiting for that all morning.
I'm a little bit of an introvert, to be honest.
It's super unusual, let's say.
Can you share what content are you into right now?
As soon as I can, as soon as possible, I will do this.
What other words?
No, I hate that word.
Tick, tick, tick.
Just thank you. Are you sure?
Hi everyone, my name is Ksenia and I'm from Unify Hub. We teach English and other languages to corporate clients. If you're looking for a language learning provider, we are here for you. This podcast was created in collaboration between Unify Hub and International HR Club. And I would like to hand over the mic to my co-host, Timur.
Hi everyone. Hi, I'm Timur Novopashin, talent acquisition professional and the founder of a peer-to-peer global talent community for HR professionals. If you work in a field of HR, talent, people experience, International HR Hub is a place where you can find knowledge sharing sessions, benchmark reports, and a peer to talk to about your problems, issues that you are facing as an HR professional. So before you continue to watch this podcast, make sure that you follow our LinkedIn page. You may find the link in the description to this video. And today, together with Ksenia, I'm going to be hosting the very first episode of our podcast, HR Circle. HR Circle is a podcast created for HR experts by HR experts. Real conversations with industry and professional field leaders about what actually happens at work and behind the curtain. The messy, the complex, the kind of stuff that doesn't always make it into the official handbooks. And without further ado, it's my enormous pleasure to welcome our guest, Maria Pronkina. Maria is an HR business partner at global company AI Digital, where she leads cross-cultural initiatives for international teams. She knows what it looks like when cross-cultural initiatives work and when they do not. So let's get started. What we noticed, and kind of know what is kind of common and not a common note, but basically it's a bit of a perception or stereotype on the market that when the company is rapidly growing and go international, so let's say expands to 5 or 10 more markets, so the company is already global and international, but the teams within the company, they tend to kind of, struggle with that, and they tend to hold on to this notion that they're not international. So they want to use their native language, it's hard to switch to English, etc. Does that reflect your experience working with international team?
I would see two big problems here. Number one is team never wants to get international, very comfortable speaking their own native language, sharing the same memes they all know, having the same cultural background, and having that personal vibe between each other. Problem number two is once they agree, like, okay, we are now all switching to English, and they're like, okay, we told you we don't want that, and you still do it, and now look, we are all very much unhappy, at least at the beginning.
It sounds about kind of reflecting the stereotype, but can you give us like a couple of particular examples of such cultural differences that you faced as an HR professional?
Yeah, I mean, these cultural differences are not that big, and it is an often perception that when we say that leaders are not open to explore different cultures, or we have cultural conflicts or something, people think about something big like, oh my God, they have different cultural background, they cannot talk to each other. It's not like that. It turned out that the problems appear in very different areas. It's around processes, it's around communication, and it's around very small, tiny details that are seems to be easy to fix, but they're not. For example, we have different definition of ASAP in different cultures. if you say, please do this ASAP to a Russian-speaking person, they will be like, okay, I have to do it right now. I don't have anything to focus right now. I should be doing this only. If you say the same to English-speaking person, they might treat it differently. Like, as soon as I can, as soon as possible, I will do this. I will prioritize this, but according to my main schedule. And that's when the friction turns out. Another part is time zones. We are all in different time zones. We have some common hours, but some of them are very different, especially when we talk about employees from Europe and from Latin America. It's like brand different working hours. And it is hard because if you are a new joiner, or even if you're an experienced worker, you want to type it immediately and schedule a message for tomorrow. It's just take additional time and efforts and additional thinking. It's much faster to just type, hey guys, what's about this? And tag a person. And everyone is like, okay, you tagged me. With my culture background, I feel like it doesn't matter that it's 2 right now. I have to answer immediately. For other cultures, it's like, well, I'll answer later. That's that type of differences start to occur, and that's where we see the most friction.
I bet that everyone will be interested in your professional journey and story. So now you're leading these cross-cultural projects for international teams as a part of AI Digital, as an HR business partner. So tell us how it happened. So basically, how did you get this job? So yeah, what's the story?
I love this part because I am not an educated HR. I don't have a master degree in this field or something like that. I used to work in cinematography as a screenwriter and then as an acting casting director. I mean, working in art industry, it requires a specific mindset and enormous love to cinema. I don't have that. I love it, but I enjoy it, but not that much to spend my entire life doing this. That's just crazy. Lots of respect for people who are open to this career. So I had to find something that will suit me, that would be interesting, and that I can really do well. I started with recruitment because I thought that castings and hiring pretty much the same. I was so wrong. Oh my God. And that was the biggest mistake I ever made. But also recruitment didn't turn out to be a perfect fit for me. It is a lot of frameworks that are very repeatable. So you do pretty much the same. And yes, you face different situations, you face different challenges, but you basically have different frameworks for all of them. So I got bored and I wanted to do something more, and I wanted to have deeper connection with people. I'm a little bit of an introvert, to be honest. So as a recruiter, you have to meet a lot of new people every day. As an HR partner, you have to meet the same people, you have stronger bonds with them. It's just different. So I started to move into this direction. Multi-login was a huge help here. Tabby, of course, that shifted my career, where I could actually have a lot of opportunities to do some processes from scratch, to explore different things, because Tabby was a young startup when I joined. So I was doing everything from events, coaching, cross-cultural programs, performance review, everything a little bit. And now in AI Digital, we are slowly becoming more mature HR. We start to have people coordinators, HR ops, we have chief empowerment officer. So the team is growing like really fast, and I can focus on what is really interesting for me right now.
The part about working in the film industry and filmmaking, I think it's amazing. Yeah, it's super unusual career path, let's say. And I tend to think more of it as a kind of not you're changing careers, but more like you're developing. So you're unwrapping your potential, as you mentioned. Yeah. And in regard with your current position, so the situation on the market right now is ambivalent. Yeah. So someone is saying that AI is kind of destroying everything. So other experts experts, they're pointing out that no, we're creating more jobs. Yeah, with AI, then we are kind of, destroying or losing the jobs with AI. Everyone is interested in a practical kind of tips and advice. So in your opinion, as an HR business partner, so you also, at some point, you were like a job seeker. What
Yeah.
did the trick for you?
Oh, well, first of all, a very deep focus. I used to know that the market was messed up. and I quit Tabby before I started to look for another job. That was a bold move, I would say. It didn't turn out as fast as I expected to be, but I was prepared. Thanks God, my partner was very supportive, and he was even pushing like, hey, don't you want to take a little bit of a break before jumping to a job search? I wanted to, but I'm an anxious person, so I couldn't afford that to myself. What worked? Applying a lot. A lot. The more you apply, the more interviews you get. I didn't have a lot of problems with the interview process. I guess it's about finding the right fit for you. But my biggest struggle was that you apply and you get rejected like in 5 minutes or in 1 minute sometimes. I also was deeply hurt on one position that I really loved, and I applied and no response as usual for a month. So I found their VP of people. I reached out to her. She read my message, and in the next 3 minutes, I received a rejection letter. That was so sad. So I ended up with 2 offers in 2 months.
That sounds perfect, especially for current market situation. So you were in a position to choose. That's great.
Yeah, I did have 2 options to choose between, but both of them offered something like interesting tasks, interesting job, but lower salary, but no stock options, but other type of benefits that are not so cool. So it is about being flexible and being open to compromises, because if you are not open to that, it's better to stick to what you have before you find something suitable and something competitive.
Maria, this ASAP example really stayed with me. Because it's such a small word and such a big misunderstanding, really. And I think every HR listening or watching us can relate to themselves. A deadline means the manager frustrated just because nobody agreed on what ASAP actually means. So what do you do about it practically? What books, exercises, or initiatives have already helped your teams get on the same page? Tell us about it.
That's a never-ending process, I'm afraid. Well, it is a lot. We have a learning base. Of course, it is the culture map. What I still love about this book is the scientific research and, well, some facts that we cannot deny about like different contexts that different cultures have. This is a useful material that we recommend to our managers, and not only to our managers. But that would not be enough, because when you read that in a book, you're like, okay, we are a low context culture, they are a high context culture. Good to know. Number one thing is self-awareness. What I want our managers to understand from that book is not how other cultures work. It is very complicated topic to understand it from only one piece of information, but how you talk, how you are being perceived, because it is a very often friction. We have front office based in the US and we have operational teams based in Europe. And that is something that caused a lot of friction, because, I received from US team feedback like, hey, your guys, your directors are often pushbacks on our propositions or on our questions, while our teams are just trying to get more information to make more informed and data-based decision. This comes across like that. And it is important for them to understand that when they ask very direct questions with no context, it may be weird for them. It may be I don't know, it looks like we are patronizing them in a way. At least that's how they describe it to us. So I want them to understand how they work and what they can change in the future. That won't be possible in one day, but when you start thinking about it, this is an important part. We have our Management Foundation course, which is mandatory for every leader in the company, newly promoted, newly hired, already existing, and optional, but available for everyone in the company upon request. In this course, we are defining our leadership principles, how we work, what we appreciate, what we value, how we provide feedback, what are our practices. And we have one specific model for cross-cultural communication, because that's something where we are struggling all together. But what I love about this is that the storytell of the e-learning material is very like case-based. So you are playing a role of a new manager who joins a team, and you have AI team companions who are talking to you. And yes, you have theoretical base, but then you have these videos when an employee comes to you saying, hey, I feel left out. No one is talking to me. I saw this joke. I don't get it. It's fine. But then we have common calls and you're still talking about this joke and I cannot join. Please help me. And you have options what to answer. And then you have what I love. You have self-reflection tab where we highlight different questions and you can, there are no right, no wrong answers. You can self-reflect, you can put them in the system, you can come back and change them later. And that is something that we bring in during our one-on-ones with our managers. That is helpful. The most helpful, I would say, 2 exercises. Number 1 is knowledge sharing. We have Leadership Monthly, so 1 per month, we have our leadership team all together for 1 hour, and we discuss different topics. It can be feedback sharing, it can be letting people go, it can be cross-cultural communication and cross-cultural differences. And it is, for me, it is a little bit hard to navigate those conversations right now because we have multicultural leadership team. And I was very worried, like, okay, how can we address that when we have 1 team lead from Latin America, 1 from Serbia, 1 from Bosnia? Turns out it was very helpful because when you are a new joiner, you obviously see that, okay, I see a lot of similar ending of a second names. I see a lot of similar accents. I see a lot of chats in Russian. What is going on? And it was helpful for them as well to understand the context and to understand how teams welcome them. What I want to highlight specifically, it was my assumption that if we highlight wins and achievements of our international hires, people will get motivated to hire more of them. Turns out, if you name 50 new employees who are doing amazing, some managers may think like, wow, we have 50 exceptional cases, but these are exceptions. We will have to spend 1 year for finding these people. But what worked is when you discuss failures and when you ask people, okay, who hire people from this region? 5 people. Okay, who hired from this region? 10 people. Share your experience, who had to let go these people because of something. And they start to describe it, and we all come up with the one simple conclusion. Well, that's not cultural, that's not a language barrier, that's actually a personality mismatch. Okay, it's attention to details, it's not willingness to improve. We had the same with Russian-speaking people. We had the same with other cultures. That's a common human thing. And I mean, from that point, it's easier for them to make decision. I'm open to hire more international people because looks like they're not bringing in any horrible things or any horrible ideas to the team, but they can add something new. The last exercise that I find extremely useful is how to work with me. It is kind of famous one. I saw it on Atlassian Playbook. They have different mini plays for management teams. It has in a lot of manager playbooks that I see in the open space across the internet. We modified it for ourselves. What I encourage our teammates to do is to have an honest conversation, create a mirror board that would be comfortable for their specific team and discuss. I use ASAP when I mean this is something extremely urgent. I use dots when I am getting angry. I use emojis always, and when I don't get emojis on my messages, I feel like you don't like me. Things like that, the most stupid ones, working habits like in the morning, don't touch me. Don't even try to have a call with me. In the evening, when you tag me, I will respond no matter what. Even if it's my wedding, I will open my phone and respond if you tagged me. Like these little habits, so we can discuss them and say like, okay, we understand you don't have to do this. Sometimes you may be accidentally tagged. Please, that's up to you. We cannot control you here. But we know this detail about you. So we will try to reschedule the message or to write, feel free to ignore this until you are online. Something like that. At least when you bring awareness, that is helpful. And this was a recent invention from one of our legendary team leads. I love her so much. I want to say that her name is Veronika and she lives in Poland and she's amazing. And she came up with written rules. So after she had this exercise, she figured out that it would be very helpful to define some internal SLAs. For example, by 5 p.m. Central European time, we should have reportings, all reportings done, no matter what. By this time, we want this. After these hours, we do not have calls at all. Before these hours, we also don't have calls because part of our team might be sleeping and we don't want to have a call without them. So she has these rules in a written format. She shares them with all new hires and they see them as little reminders. And that is something very, very common for them as a rule. And that helps a lot. That really reduces the friction time.
Maria, we just talked about how to work with me exercise. So what's in yours? How do you work?
I don't know. I feel like I tell from the very beginning to people I work with what I expect. And these are also not cultural, but personal things. I am obsessed with recognition. When I do not receive feedback at all, I started to doubt myself a lot. So if you don't say me like, wow, thank you, this is a good idea, I will be like, okay, just thank you. Are you sure? Is that all? I make sure that every stakeholder I work with know about that thing and they tell me good things unless it's a bad thing. And if it's a bad thing, I immediately know about that so we can discuss it. I know right now I work also with the US team, so it's kind of easier for me. But yes, with the US team, by the way, I have how to work with me manual that I am not used to. Sometimes my US colleagues, and I don't mean to be rude, but they tend to say yes to a lot of things without meaning yes. And my life hack is very simple. If they say, yes, let's do it, then it's yes. If they say, yes, I was thinking once upon a time, blah, 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 and then I have a long story, that means it's probably no, and I have to dig into that. When you work with MENA region, with India, they also require process changes because they have a habit. I mean, they have their own experience. We are not hiring someone who is in the kindergarten, right? We have people who are at least 18 years old, been teaching ways of living and ways of working for 18 years. We cannot change it in a month. We cannot change it with any manual. We have to create and we have to adapt our processes for working with different regions who have their own working culture. I have to admit that if you do not adjust your processes, onboarding, working schedule, how you allocate tasks, how you set deadlines, it will not work with MENA region. It will not work with India. So that requires huge process changes. And yeah, that would be it for my experience of working with them. Yes, personally, you have to adapt to their communication style. It was a huge surprise for me when I first traveled to Egypt, where we have a call center in Tabi. And I wanted to say like, hey, and give a handshake or even a hug to some people, because that's how we used to do it. It's not allowed there. You are not allowed to touch other people, even if you have their consent. That's not appropriate. Things that I have to learn. They have times to pray. They have times to eat. They are very sensitive about that. And that is something that I had to learn.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you.
I think we do have like an extra team member that everyone would love to meet.
Chief Happiness Officer.
And what's the Chief Happiness Officer name?
His name is Casper. Actually, this Saturday we received a certification. He is now officially certified emotional support dog, so he can volunteer in schools or in hospitals. We're not doing this yet, but yeah, we have gone through this journey. He's the best dog ever. AI Digital is a very dog-friendly company. We recently had an offsite in Barcelona. And since both me and my partner work in AI Digital and everything happened like in Barcelona where we live, Casper had to attend the event with us. He gained his popularity across all teams right now.
Can you just tell us a little bit, what type of breed is that?
That's Cavapoo. It's a mix of Poodle and Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
What made you choose this particular breed? I saw it, I thought, that's an interesting breed. I even read a little about it. Can you tell us why you chose it?
It was accidentally. I used to grow up with dogs. I was born in a small village. We always had a lot of dogs. But then I joined the university. I had to live in the dormitory, and then the war happened and relocation. And all these years, I wanted to have a dog. Once we stopped in Spain and rented an apartment, a long-term apartment, not an Airbnb, I immediately started to look for the dogs. My boyfriend didn't want to have a dog at the beginning. He was like, no, why do we need that? It's too much effort. It's too much time. We cannot travel. And I was like, if the dog is small, we can travel. So we decided to get a small dog and we started to explore different breeders here in Spain. And the first breeder was just Cavalier Spaniels, because as a kid, I had English Cocker Spaniel and I love Spaniels. They're the best. Turned out that this breeder sold one pup for 4,000 euros plus 21% VAT. And I was like, okay, I am not prepared for that, especially right after the relocation. We had to buy all furniture from scratch. I mean, it's crazy. And one day I just received a notification that there is a breeder somewhere in Poland, I guess, who are delivering their puppies across the Europe. And they have one puppy who is now in Europe and he wasn't bought, but he is around Spain. So they offer him with a huge discount. And I was like, okay, taken. So that's how he turned out in our house. Next dog will be Golden Retriever and he will arrive to us in 2 weeks.
Wow, golden retriever is a different choice from Cavapoo, right?
Yes.
So it's a boy as well, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could push for the second one and say like, but I want a big dog. Why we would have two little dogs and then get a third one? That would be three dogs. It's not so convenient. Why not go and just take a big one? And she was like, okay, do whatever you want.
I also have a dog who wants to say hi. He's been waiting for that all morning.
Oh my
I
God.
So
love it.
that's Zeus. He's
Oh, so
also
sweet.
curious. Yes. But we are also looking to get a bigger dog because, yes, it will be a great company. He's also sleepy. Yeah. Right. So dogs are absolutely incredible. Every time there is someone coming to visit me, people say, "Oh, I need to get the same dog."
As an HRBP, I have this part of job that is not the most pleasant, and it's terminating employees. Sometimes it is very challenging. It's never a pleasure, I can say. And sometimes I am extremely worried. Sometimes I know those people very well and I am sad. And if we had a long journey with performance improvement plans and everything, and we've been collaborating together, I will be rooting for them, I get incredibly stressed. And imagine that you are on a termination call with HR and I am with all serious face explaining you the reasons and everything, saying you goodbye. And Casper can sense stress hormones now, and he like, oh my God, she's stressed. I have to do something. I have to do something. So he jumps on my knees and starts licking my face while I'm like, okay, your accesses will be revoked immediately after the call. But I can't stop smiling because Casper is so cute and it is so funny how he feels the stress and immediately drops everything and comes to my knees and doing this stuff.
This is what I heard about these types of breed, that they are very empathic rather than the others like toy poodles, as Zeus. He doesn't care a lot about that. But Cavapoos, it's something that makes them really special. That's an amazing
Yeah.
fact.
I would just ask the very last question about your takeaway. What every HR person needs to know to be successful.
Empathy is like the only skill that really helps you to boost career. You can learn a lot, you can know a lot, you can understand all the frameworks in the world, but if you have empathy and like a very good common sense, you can be a very good HR professional because it all comes from these things, and all policies, I hate them, all processes, all coaching, all L&D comes from empathy. So yeah, that's my point of view, at least.
Beautiful. So we gotta exercise our human muscle, let's say.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, Maria, for being here. That was such a real and very honest conversation. And to everyone listening, thank you for staying with us till the end. Let's stay in touch. See you in the circle. Goodbye.